for architecture and interior design. So we have mixed public, but I think everyone can learn something from Kershawa. And
Yes, definitely,
guys,
definitely.
if you have any questions, feel free to turn on your mics, ask or raise your hand, and or even send a message in the chat. I will keep an eye on it. So if it's something you don't understand, didn't hear well, we will repeat everything you need to know. So without further ado, go ahead, Kershawa. We can't wait to start this.
Sure, definitely. So yeah, as I told you, so that's where we were talking earlier about this. So the creativity of Rhino and the documentation power of Revit can come together. So before we get into all of that, like we can also, I mean, I think all of us need to know what Rhino Inside is. So Rhino Inside is a kind of like a revolutionary technology where a Rhino can, as a separate piece of software, can work inside your regular software. So Rhino kind of, it kind of works like a plugin to your software. So it is not only a standalone software, but it can also work as an addition to whatever software that you use. So Revit is one instance, but also you can also plug it to other various software like Blender, like Unreal Engine, like even Illustrator, AutoCAD, or even Unity. So all of these software can work with Rhino inside Revit. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So here, what you're going to look at is, just give me a second. Sorry, I'm just getting up. Thanks. So, yeah. Sorry, I just got a call there. But what I'm trying to say is we could use Rhino inside any of these software that you're looking at. So what we can do with this is it helps you, as I told you, Rhino is kind of like a creative tool. So it enables you to, create, let's say, a design idea and allows you to play with it in different ways. Like for example, here, let's say you can create these floor slabs, but you can also, rotate them, and you can do sort of like this this freeform exploration that you can do. That is something that Rhino enables you to do very easily. And also, so Grasshopper is kind of like a visual node-based software. I'm pretty sure many people know that works along with Rhino. So that's what. So that yeah. So what it also allows you to do is to also use code, right? Like you can also type in Python, and you can also, let's say, if you're computer science savvy, you can also, extend, the functionality of Rhino very easily. And through Rhino and through Rhino Inside, the technology that we're talking about, we can also, manipulate Revit, as I told you. So Rhino kind of attaches itself as a plugin to Revit, and it helps you, manipulate Revit directly from Rhino without even touching Revit directly. So what this allows you to do, you may ask. So this is just a snapshot from one of our projects where we kind of, so using Revit, you cannot model all these freeform buildings. Like all these freeform forms cannot be done. So, but using Rhino, you can also model these freeforms, and you can also document them effectively, like how you see here. So you can also get away with the technical limitations of Revit, and also use the freeform modeling steps of Rhino. So you can go from design to construction automatically.
Mm-hmm. I have a
So
question.
here,
Sorry, I have a
yeah.
question. So do you need to
Yeah.
know any programming to use Grasshopper?
I would say it helps,
Yeah.
but Grasshopper is also intuitive in that sense. So they already have these small units called as nodes. We will get that. We will get to that now, maybe in some time.
Mm-hmm.
So it has these nodes. You can use those nodes, and you can connect each of these nodes with each other, which kind of is like a programming language, right? So it's kind of like giving Lego blocks. So I would say it's kind of like Lego blocks, and you can use Lego blocks to build your own stuff, right? And so that's how you can So you need not know programming per se, but that logic it's helpful.
Understand.
So yeah, so that's how it works. So this is not something very academic in that sense. Like it's not something that's there. It's also because we kind of use it. So I run a company called Spatio Tectonics where we kind of use this actively in our projects. So I'm basically from India, but as Matt introduced me, I was previously working in Germany. So we also have some projects in Dubai and also projects in India where we're actively using Rhino Inside Revit for our projects. So these are just some of our projects that we've done. So this is a large project. This is like an atrium where we kind of did it in marble. Like this was done only with Rhino Inside Revit. It is not possible other ways. So this is a very large project, and to the right you see this is a very small project. This example is just an interior project where these brass lines were made using Rhino Inside Revit because this is otherwise very difficult to model manually. Like each of these members are different in length, so that's where using these programming sort of things become very useful. And to the left, this is like a complex structure and the facade that was done using Rhino in Revit. This is still under construction, and this is a project that's in the right that's completed that we've done using Rhino inside Revit. Like this complicated structure. It was very useful to model it in Rhino inside Revit. So I'll just maybe take some time to just take you through Rhino and take you through what we made. So what is necessary in this session? So I hope all of you have Rhino installed. Please give me a thumbs up if you've already installed Rhino, or just maybe paste a thumbs up in a chat or just say installed or something like that. Yes.
So
Okay.
Sandrino,
Okay. I
just
see.
thumbs up.
Okay. Okay. So what about the rest of you? Have you already installed Rhino? So okay. Okay, so I see some thumbs up. So maybe I'll just since we're running out of time, maybe I'll just maybe do a brief introduction of Rhino. So once you open Rhino, this is what you'll typically see. So Rhino in some sense is very similar to AutoCAD. Like if you know AutoCAD, you know Rhino because Rhino was initially a plugin that was developed for AutoCAD, and then they kind of spun out into their own software. So anything. So that's how. So all the commands from AutoCAD, Revit, or any of these AutoCAD alikes, right? Like say ZWCAD, all of these have the similar commands, and Rhino is also similar in that sense. Like for example, if you want to just draw a rectangle, you can just type in rectangle, and you can just get that. So this is the command line. So a command line is also like similar to any of these AutoCAD kind of software, right? So you can just type in rectangle, and then you can just draw a rectangle like that. And you can just type in circle, and you can draw a circle. So that's so mostly what you learn in your other CAD software, you can definitely take it to Rhino because Rhino in that sense is very intuitive. And just speaking about Rhino, so you initially saw these 4 viewports. Let's get back to that. So this is what you typically see when you open Rhino, which is a top viewport. Like this is an orthogonal viewport where you kind of see the plan. This is the perspective viewport. This is the front elevation, and then this is the right side elevation. So all these views kind of work together. Let's say if you want to build like a 3D figure, it becomes very useful to just have these four of these together. But since we're dealing with something simple as of now, I'll just use the perspective viewport. You can just double click on this to open this perspective viewport. And this manipulation in the Rhino window is similar to AutoCAD, where you can just use the right mouse button to operate. Like you can just go around the viewport, and then you can use the center mouse button to zoom in and out. And then you can use the left mouse button to select whatever elements that you created. So I'm guessing most of you must, like, at least I would be happy if you're, listening to whatever I'm saying and doing it along the side, so that, like, if there's any questions, we can definitely clarify at the end of the session, so that it will be very useful for, for all of us, so that it also becomes, the session also becomes very, very interactive and very productive in that sense. So as I told you, if you go to the top viewport, like this is kind of very similar to AutoCAD, right? Like you can just type in rectangle and you can just draw a rectangle like that. And you can also, like AutoCAD, you can also type in dimensions. Like for example, I can just start from here, and then it says you can just type in a length. Say I can just say 500 mm, and then press enter. And then I can just say, let's say 1500 mm to the right, and then press enter. Now we've got a rectangle which is like 500 by 1500 mm. So this is something that like you can use. So you can either eyeball your dimensions like how you do it in your concept stage software, or you can be more precise and you can enter the dimensions that you want to enter, and you can do that. So this is the 2D aspect of things. Now, if you want to go to 3D, the interesting way to do it in Rhino is, so once you click on an object, you can see something like this, right? You see these three axes that show up. So this is very unique to Rhino in a sense that it helps you, intuitively move things around. Like it helps you, you can use this to move like that, helps you to move like that. Let me know if you're seeing something like this in your screen. Because if you're not, what you'll have to do is, once you come to the bottom here, you'll see this thing called drum ball. You'll have to activate that to make sure that this is seen. And then, using Rhino becomes so much more easier because you can just use this to move things here and there. And this kind of becomes easier. So now if I have to just, extrude this, like, make this into a cuboid, what I have to do is I can just come in here. You see this small square, the circle? You can just click on that and just say how much you want it extruded by. You can just say 500 and press enter. And now you see that it's created like a wireframe because Rhino has display modes like AutoCAD, right? Like AutoCAD also has display modes. So here we are in the wireframe display mode. If you just click on this perspective, you can see that there are many display modes. To go into shade it, now you can see that the faces are already created. The faces of these of this extrusion has been created. Now what you can do is you can come in here, just create a cap, and now you've got a closed cuboid. So this is a cuboid. So this is how you can create various shapes in 3D in Rhino. Now if I just come in here, click on this, now I can just extrude this to this height, or any height for that matter. Now we've created a cylinder. So this is how you can typically use Rhino to create, 3D shapes very quickly. So now I can use this. Or what you can do is you can also create 2D surfaces. You can just click on this, just type in planar. Okay, let's not get there. That's a little bit advanced. So maybe what we can do is just extrude this. Now we've already created a cuboid. And so yeah, so maybe I mean I would say to the easiest way to learn any software is by doing it. Like you try to be hands-on, try to uh, do something. Also, let me know in the chat if you have any doubts, or please feel free to unmute and ask if you have any doubts till now. I'd be happy to clarify. And if you feel like I'm going too fast, also let me know. Because I tend to be fast. I understand that, but yeah. So please let me know in the chat. Clear until now, like, or do you already know so much of Rhino? Maybe we can also go faster if people here already know this much. Like I'm just using this session as a way to understand who like the people here and to get to know you guys better.
Well, I don't hear them complaining, so yeah, maybe you could put it into a higher gear.
Okay. So this is what so I'm assuming by asking not asking doubts, we can definitely go further. So yeah, so let's open. So Grasshopper is actually a plugin to Rhinoceros. So once you just type in Grasshopper in the command line, you will see something like this. So this is kind of like a visual programming interface to Rhino. So this is kind of used in addition to Rhino. So to Matt, to answer your question, this is not really something that so here you see everything. These are all nodes. Like this is what we call a node. So a point is a point node. Like this is so Grasshopper kind of deconstructs every command in Rhino in a way that you can string them together to um, create what do you call them? Create programs, if I can call them, like, or you can create code. So you're not writing code per se, you're kind of like building code using like building blocks. So that's what Grasshopper is. So for example, now let's say now we created this rectangle manually in Rhino, right? Let's see how we can create the same rectangle in Grasshopper. So now I can just come in here, just go to curve, and here you should be able to see something called rectangle. Yes. So now we can either go through that or you can just type in rectangle. And here you can see the first one that you see here. This is the rectangle. So you can just click on this and just zoom into that so that you can see that rectangle in Grasshopper in Rhino as well. So I would suggest both of you, like the people who are listening here, to have Rhino in half of the window and then Grasshopper in the other half of the window. Just open it like that. Maybe we can close this. Yes. So here you see it's already, so there are some default settings that comes with Rhino. so that you already see a rectangle here. But we can also create a rectangle from scratch. Let's see how to do that. Now let's say I just want to create a rectangle of 100 inches. So I can just, so this is called a number slider. So number slider is where you can either manually type in a number, or you can just use this slider to, just increase or decrease the size of the rectangle above that. So here you can see when I slide this slider here, it kind of automatically updates in the 3D automatically. So now I can just so here what I'm doing is I'm connecting each node to each other. So this is one. So this is what we call a node. So a node connects to various elements. So a node has some inputs and has some outputs. So the inputs are the ones that you see on the left. The outputs are the ones that you get out of the right. So here I've just plugged in this number slider 17. So how did I get this number slider? You can just type in slider, just double click anywhere on the canvas, just type in slider. And you see this number slider option, right? Just click on that and you get this. So now, since we already have a number slider here, I'll delete this one. I'll copy this. You can just do Control C and Control V. I'll just connect the Y size to this. And you can also increase the size of this rectangle in the Y direction. So now what this does is, so now you have created a dynamic rectangle that listens to your commands. Now let's try creating like a box like this, like how we've done in Rhino in Grasshopper. So now let's just extrude this. So now what we want to do is a command called extrude. So just type in extrude and you see this. So you see Grasshopper is smart enough to understand what commands that you're trying to use. And it kind of brings that thing right in front of you. So this is extrude. You can just click on that. So the base, so it's asking for two parameters, one which is a base curve and then the direction, and the direction in which you want the curve to be extruded. So the base curve is this curve, the rectangle curve. So we can just connect that rectangle here. And then the direction. So the direction we want it extruded in the top, which is the z-axis, because so the x is towards the right, y is towards the upwards, and the z is towards the top. So you can just type in, I want to extrude it towards the z-axis. So you see unit z. So this is a unit vector. So unit vector is a vector that has a magnitude of 1. So this is a vector which we are connecting here. So now you can see that it has created like a small extrusion of 1 unit. Now if we connect a bigger, like a number slider to this, let's say if you want to increase the amplitude, I can just connect this here. Now you see it's created a bigger box. And now we can change this. Now the strength of Grasshopper is that now that we've created this, we can again go back and change these. So you can go and change these automatically, and then all the changes that you've done in the forward remains. All the changes that you've done in the back also remains. Only the parameter that you're editing right now is a parametric model. Like here, what we have created, this is a static model because you can't change this. If you change this, the geometry changes. But here, what we have done is we have created something called a dynamic model where you can change any of the information that you want, but still it retains its information. You can also go back and say, now I want everything to be 100 mm, 100 mm, and 100 mm. I can just increase everything. So since the length, breadth, and height, all of these are equal, now what we've created is a cube. So so this is the basics of Grasshopper. Let me know if things are clear till now. Maybe we can proceed further if everybody is fine with whatever we've created now. I'm happy to take questions if there's any.